Linux is an open source operating system that comes in many different flavors and versions. It's quite popular. It has been very popular over the years. So in this video I'm going to show you some basic commands that you can run from the Linux terminal, and it should help you kind of just get started and kind of get your toes wet when it comes to kind of navigating around the Linux terminal. So we're going to start off with a command pwd. So hit pwd once you're in the Linux terminal, hit enter. Now what this will do, this will print the current working directory. So in Linux, everything is treated as a file, even directories. So directories are essentially folders, and you have like a tree of folders which all the files are stored in. So that kind of includes everything that is there to kind of configure and to run the operating system, and all your files and all that kind of stuff that you keep on your computer. They're all within folders. So I'm currently in the home directory, and I'm also in so in the home directory I'm in the Vagrant folder. So pwd prints the current working directory. Actually, just before I move on, it will probably be useful to tell you kind of how Linux commands works, or how they're structured. Sorry. So the way they're structured is you have a command. So you enter the command, the name of the command. Then you can specify options for that command, and then after the next space you enter the arguments. So in this case pwd, obviously, so that's the name of the command, pwd. Options, we didn't specify any options in this one. Obviously options are optional, as the name suggests. And then argument. So an argument is what the command is going to kind of use as an input, or what it's going to run on, you can think of. pwd doesn't need an argument because it works, it's the current working directory, so it's by default the argument is essentially this folder. So that's how you enter Linux commands. That's the structure. Again, options are of course optional, and sometimes the argument can be optional, but as you'll see as we go, touch on some other commands, this argument is necessary. So okay, we know what folder we're in. Let's do another one, ls. Hit enter. Now this actually tells us what's in this current directory. So it's one of the most frequent commands used in Linux, and it's to list directories and files. So we hit ls in this folder, so now we know that we're in the home Vagrant directory, and inside of that is a text directory. So how do we know that this text here is a directory and not a file? Well, like I said, everything technically in Linux is a file, but what we can do is we can use the file command, and then what we're going to do is, as the arguments, we're going to put in text. Right, so we are putting so we're asking the terminal to perform the file command on this text, and then let's see what it comes out. Okay, so it tells us that text is a directory. So if this was a file, it would tell us that it was a file. So let's use another command that's very popular, cd. So this is the Linux command which helps us, which allows us to navigate through directories. So we can change directories, cd, and then so now we know that there's another folder in the folder that we're in, or the directory. So let's see if we can change directory to text. As we can see now, we can see from this prompt that we're now in the text directory. Just to make sure, we can hit pwd again, pwd, and as we can see, we're now in the text folder. Okay, so let's see what's inside of this. Okay, so we've got a first file.txt. So ignoring the extension, obviously .txt, you probably can guess that it's a text file, but let's say we didn't know and we want to see what it is. Okay, so as we can see here, it's an ASCII text file. Cool. I'm going to show you another command here which will clear the screen. If you just hit enter clear and hit enter, it will clear the screen for us. So far we've done pwd, we've done ls, we've done cd. Oh, let me clear that. Now what we can do with cd is we can also go backwards, so we can move into directories and we can also move out. So we can go one stage back by doing .. as the argument after cd, and that will take us back to where we were when we started. If we do pwd, like I said, we're in home vagrant. Now when it comes to these, so ls and cd, we don't have to use the default value which tells us about, so for ls or list the directories, we can specify the path of the directory and it will list the directories and files in that path. So for example, right now we're in home vagrant. So if I do ls, I know that there's a text directory, but if I wanted to see what's inside of it without actually changing directories and doing cd text and then doing ls, what I could do is ls and then use the argument text, and that will tell us what is inside of that text directory. But as you can see, we're still in the home directory. We haven't moved directories. So this is quite useful if you just want to kind of if you just want to see if you want to have a peek at, inside a directory without actually going into it and kind of cding in. And you can also cd and change directories. Once you type in cd, you can enter the path. You don't have to do it one directory at a time. So for example, let me just cd. So instead of doing cd vagrant and then the next one is cd text, I can just do cd, let's do it again. Let's do cd home, right, because we got this home folder, and then from there we'll go to vagrant, and then from there we'll go to text, and as we can see, we're now in the text directory. So we just need to kind of specify the path using the name of the directory we want to go into, followed by a slash, and then continue on for however many kind of directories we want to go into. So that's some very basic ones. We'll move on to some other ones, very common ones. Mkdir, which is make directory. So let's say you wanted to make another directory, hit mkdir and then the name of the directory that you want to create. So let's go test dir. Hit enter. Now if we do ls, we can see that we've got a new test dir. In my terminal, I can tell that this is a directory, obviously because we just created it, but also because it's in blue. Some terminals will do this, but again, otherwise you can just hit file test just to make sure, if you're not sure. So let's cd into this tester now. ls, we've got nothing in there because it's an empty directory. Now this will take us to the next command, which is touch. So type in touch. Touch allows you to create blank or empty files. So let's say you wanted to create an empty file. Let's do test file, or my test file.txt. Now this .txt isn't actually necessary, but hit enter. Let's do ls, and now we can see we've got my test file.txt. Okay, let's actually go back and let's go on another command. So we've got first file.txt here. how do you actually view what's inside of it? So we've got a command called cat, which displays the contents onto the terminal. So we type in cat and then use firstfile.txt as our argument, hit enter, and it prints out everything that's in that file to the terminal. So our command started here, so everything after, so all this is the contents of the file. So as we can see, it's something to do with Vim, talking about the commands in Vim. So this doesn't allow us to actually modify the file in any way. It's just to see what's inside of it. So obviously, if the file is extremely long, then this command may not be useful. You might be better off opening in a text editor, which we'll come to later. So let's clear the screen. So we've done, let's just recap. We've done mkdir to create a new directory. We've done touch, so cd new dir. We've done touch to create a new file, and we've done cat. So if we see what's going on in this new file, nothing happens because it's empty. What else could we do? Okay, let's also cover a few others. Let's do moving and copying files. So right now we're in new directory. Let's go back. So let's say I wanted to copy this file, new file.txt, into the new directory, right? So I want to copy it, essentially copy and paste. Obviously there's no way I can drag and drop. This is a text-based terminal, so we can use the cp command. Oh, that's what I was going to mention actually. So cp is copy. So if you are confused about how to use a certain command, if you can, you remember the command to use, but you can't remember how exactly to use it or what options or arguments there are, what you can do is after the command, do a double dash and then type in help, right, with no spaces, right? So the command space and then dash dash help and then hit enter. Now what this is going to do, this is going to show us all the arguments and the options that are available for this command. So these ones here, and then it gives us a description. So for this command cp, which is for copy, there are all these arguments, there are all these options that you can use. So we've got archive, we've got copy contents, right? So this copies the contents of special files. We've got force, which essentially just copies it without kind of any errors popping up or any warnings. You've got R for recursive, which kind of copies which goes into the directories and then goes into those directories and copies kind of everything, inside of that directory, etc. Verbose, right? So if you ever get confused, just do double dash help after the command, and then you can have a quick read and see what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear that and I'm going to do ls. Okay, so I'm going to copy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the first file.txt. So another tip is, instead of typing out first file.txt, what you can do is, because there's only one file here kind of starting with FIR, you could just do FIR, or you can even F, and just hit tab and it'll auto complete. There you go. So I want to copy the first file.txt, and then what you want to do is then specify where you want to copy it to. So I want to copy it to new dir. Hit enter. Let's do ls, and as we can see, okay, we've still got it there because we copied it, but then if we do ls new dir, so we're just checking what's inside the new directory, we've got first file.txt. Then we can even cat, just to make sure that the contents of the file is copied. So we can do cat new dir first file.txt, and as you can see, we've got the same thing as we saw with the with this one in the current working directory. So that's copy. Let's do move. So let's say we wanted to move this file into the test directory. mv is the command for that. Again, we specify what we're moving and where we're moving it. Sorry, ls. So it's gone. But if we do ls tester, we can see that first file.txt is there. Again, we can cat. And it's all there. So that's copy and move. Okay, let's use let's say we want to copy everything inside of test directory into new directory. So we can copy. Let's just try this. So you would assume that it's copy the test directory into new directory. Hit enter. Okay, so it's given us a warning saying -r not specified, omitting directory. So what does that mean? So we need to use an option if we are copying directories and the contents, right? So you can't copy a directory into another directory unless you're kind of going down into that directory and copying everything inside of it. So we do that by using the -r flag. So remember, if we go on help for copy, -r is here, recursive, right? So there are different ways of specifying this same option. So we've got -big R, -small r, or double -recursive. So usually options in Linux have you can either kind of specify the letter, or you can actually specify the word for what that letter stands for. If you put the word in, you want to do a double dash. If you want to put the letter in to make it kind of more succinct, then you can just do a single dash. So again, this will go into that file, into that directory, and then it will copy all the files that are in that directory. And then if there are more directories, it will go into that directory and then copy all the files, and it will just continue to do this until everything inside of that directory that you're trying to copy is copied, right? So we're going to do copy, and then remember it's command options, I can't even spell, options, and then arguments, right? So we're going to do cp, then we're going to specify the option, recursive, then we're going to do test dir, and then we're going to do new dir, right? So we're copying everything inside of the test directory into the new directory. Let's hit ls, right? So we've still got test directory. So if we do ls new dir, so we should see a test directory in there. Perfect. We can then cd into that, so we can do new dir /test dir ls, and as we can see, we've got our two files. Again, we can do the same where we can move directories as well as files. So let's go ahead and move directory. So let's say, let's go back. So what you can also do is, if you're cd, you don't necessarily have to go back and then go back. You could just specify the path straight away. So you could just do, so if we do pwd, right, I could, if I wanted to, specify the whole path and just do vagrant. So if I was quite deep into certain folders, I could just specify the path that I want to go back to without having to kind of go back individually. So we've got text. Let's go into text. Okay, so let's say instead of copying, we wanted to move the test directory into the new directory. In fact, before that, let's let's do okay, Okay, let's go into the new directory. Let me clear this. Okay, I'll show you this first. So how to delete directories and files. So to delete, we have the rm command, and then again you specify the argument, so basically what you want to delete. Now this won't work because it's a directory. So in the same way that when you copy directories, it has to kind of go into that directory and then find all the other directories in there and then copy that. It's the same thing with deleting. So we have to also use the recursive flag if you want to delete directories. So if we specify the recursive flag, so this is delete everything inside of this test directory. If there are other directories inside of that, delete them as well, so on and so forth until everything is deleted. So now, as we can see, we've got no test directory. So that's rm. We can also do rm for files. Now we don't have to specify that flag because it's a file, right? You can also use another flag, rm-f for force, so that just basically forces the removal of a file or a directory without giving us any warning, but obviously be careful with that because there's no recycle bin in Linux. If you delete something, it's deleted forever. So okay, now let's go back. So let's say we want to move this test directory into the new directory. So we don't want to copy it, we just want to move it, right? So we do move. Again, we're going to have to use the recursive flag, and then we want to move the test directory into the new directory. Oh, okay, maybe not. Okay, fair enough. That was a mistake on my part. Let me just rm. Oh, okay, so remove. Oh, did the wrong one. Okay, so for move, you don't actually need to do -r. There is no option for recursive. So again, yeah, that's why this command here --help works very well. It helps us to kind of figure out what's going on with our command. So I didn't need to actually do that. All I need to do was move the whatever directory into whatever directory. So we've only got new directory now. If we do ls new dir, we've got test directory inside of that. So we've covered quite a lot. We've done pwd, we've done ls, we've done cd, change directory, we've done make new directory with mkdir, we've done copy files and directories, we've done move directories, we've got remove directories, we've done create new empty files with touch, we've done cat to see what's inside of a file, we've done file to check what type of file. We have, I think for this video it's going to get too long, so I think for this video we'll stop here. So these are kind of the ones that we've gone through, so just have a play around, and then you can join me on the next video where we'll go through some more.